Sean Payton, head coach of the New Orleans Saints. What's with this Saints Happy podcast? This has to be the worst Saints podcast in the world. Ralph can't say anyone's name right. Andrew doesn't know football. Everyone has a hard time listening to Dave. And is Kevin even there tonight? The audio with this podcast, my God, the audio, it's painful.
All right, everybody. Welcome to a whole new world. It's the Saints Happy Hour podcast. Thanks for joining us. Find us wherever you get your podcast. Subscribe to the channel on YouTube. We have reached the big time.
The pinnacle.
I am no longer in charge of any of the audio, video. It is Dave Andrew's dream. We got Thomas in Poland. It's like 3:45. He's in like 8 coffees deep. He's running the whole shebang. Welcome to the new Saints Happy Hour.
She bangs.
It's going to be amazing.
We actually fit in our boxes today.
Fit in our boxes.
On YouTube.
The levels are going to be right on YouTube. It's not people aren't going to have to crank it up to 110%. It's going to be amazing.
There's no frozen video. I mean, I don't know if I like this.
All the levels are even.
I know. I got to be honest. I think this is too good for me.
We are highbrow. I thought out in Texas, and when I thought out, it was a whole new podcast. That's what happened.
It's the greatest thing to ever happen to this podcast.
It's
a good thing, by the way. It's a good thing you guys went on Sunday instead of Monday, and it's a good thing you didn't wait for me because you would have never gotten a podcast. So it was a good thing you went when you did.
Well, I mean, the thing is, I couldn't go, Dave. I knew that if we went Monday, catastrophe awaited, and it was even worse than I thought. Like Texas basically dropped below 30 degrees, and it stayed that way until Friday. So like it was the right call. Like we had to do it. So Thomas, get on the air and tell the people. Like people need to hear your voice to realize that you're real.
Yeah, this is Thomas from Russia. Just kidding. Hello, everyone.
All right, go away, Thomas. Go away.
Yeah, all right. That was too much.
He's the opposite of me. Dave and Andrew figured this out because here's my thing was no matter what calamity befell this podcast 10, 20 seconds before we went live, my attitude was we are going live, hell or high water. Nothing is stopping the show. Thomas is like, hey, we're just going to wait. I got to check some things. I got to make sure it's right. So we come on a little late. It's fine. He's got the little intro to start. It's amazing. But so that's where we are. So I wanted to start with actual Saints news as we wait for Drew Brees to retire. Maybe it'll come this week. But Andrew, you noticed, and a lot of people did, Instagram. He's in Hawaii, so that ain't happening until he gets back from Hawaii. So I don't know how long he's been on vacay.
He was at the Hawaii airport, right? Actually, let me look at this Insta that he posted. But yeah, he was at the Hawaii airport. So it was unclear to me whether he was coming or going.
Yeah.
If he's coming, then he's probably not announcing his retirement. Yeah, phrasing. But if he's just getting there. Oh, okay, I will. But yeah, if he's not, if he's there, then and he's just getting there, I would think that he's probably going to be there for a week, and it's at least going to be a week before we see him back.
And of course, I'm setting up the patron stuff for the week. Me and Andrew have a couple of podcasts in the can. I'm setting up everything. I loaded my WWL column for the patrons early, and I loaded it in, and I was just like, I'll just hit publish when he announced that he retires. Of course, me being the expert editor, producer of everything that I am, I pushed it out live. So patrons got it for like 5 minutes, the Drew Brees retirement column, and I totally confused everyone in the Discord channel. They're like, wait, Ralph put out the Drew Brees retirement column. Did he announce today? No, he didn't. I'm just an idiot. But does that make us think that it's not going to happen this week and we're going to have to go through another week, Dave, of the speculation that he's thinking of coming back. The longer he goes and doesn't announce retiring, I feel like it ramps up. People get more and more believing that he's going to come back. Do you think another by the end, if he doesn't retire this week, by Friday, people are going to be 100% convinced he's coming back?
Wait.
Right?
So what is Thomas showing us right now? This is from last year, right?
No,
Yeah.
he's showing. Oh, is he not showing you Drew Brees' Instagram when he was in Florida?
Yeah,
Let's make
Drew,
another
yeah. So
run.
let's
Make
make another run
at it.
Oh
But
yeah,
it
that's
looks like
last year.
he when he returned from Hawaii, so he's on that trip currently, and
Yeah.
so we're probably a week away.
Yeah,
I would say.
I think
based
probably
on
when he announces, he's just going to put a Notre Dame helmet in the Instagram.
so that tweets
and we'll
that
know.
Insta is from, or that tweet is from a year ago,
That's right.
and the one I just sent you, Thomas, if you can post that. Now I'm getting all like expecting of stuff now. Yeah, but yeah, the one that he just posted of his kids is in Hawaii currently at the airport. So anyway,
Anyway, I think Ralph's right. I mean, I don't know. My understanding of it was Mickey Loomis said 2 weeks ago that he was expecting something, within a week or whatever, and that just sort of set this ticking clock. And now we're a week past that. He's in Florida. He's in Hawaii now. He may not make another decision for another week. But I do feel like the longer I think it's legitimate to think the longer he waits to make a decision, that means that he's at least giving it thought. He's at least thinking about it. He hasn't, it's not an instant, decision that he's ready to make. So I don't know. But then the question is, I just saw it on Reddit today, is that meme with the guy with the 2 button options and he's sweating, and it's like, do we want Drew Brees to return and make one more run at it, or do we push the other button that says he's holding back the team? Like, which one is it? Like, who which side are you on? Which camp are you in? I think who that nation is divided.
I said on Twitter, look, people know I want Drew Brees to retire because I think it only gets sadder from here. But if he announces he's coming back, I will convince myself that he's going to be healthy for a whole year. His ribs are going to be great. He's not going to get hit, and it's going to be awesome. I talked myself into Brandon Browner at corner, Andrew. I know I can talk myself into another year of Drew Brees. Like, I can do that in like 30 seconds. Like, it's not a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with you. I'm kind of with you in the sense that, yeah, it's one of those things where I don't want him back, but if he says he's coming back, I'll change my tune really quickly. Yeah.
I mean, the Saints
just for the fact that I would hope that, if not a completely full stadium, pretty darn close to it, hopefully next year, if everybody gets vaccinated and we can beat this COVID thing. I mean, if not, if only just to get Drew to get the proper send off and to get a good final season, and in front of fans, and get a big deal to be made out of him. They could have, who knows? They could do something every game. They could, show highlights every game, or pick a different game that he excelled in or whatever. But just for that alone, for him to get that, I think would be nice.
Here's a question.
Well, he's already. I just want to say real quick, like, he's already getting massive amounts of disrespect. And there's a tweet that I don't know if Thomas is going to be able to show this or not, but it's a tweet that's circulating right now. That's well, I have to admit it's pretty funny, but it's basically someone that's trying to throw a rock or something, and he tries to chuck it, and it barely goes like 2 feet.
Really.
And the tweet is like, Michael Thomas
seen
does a double move and he's wide open, and here's Brees trying to throw it to him. And it's brutal. And so like the mockery, like it's been going on for so long, and like now, like for years, it was the whole arm truther thing, and we're like, it's not that true. Well, like now it's kind of starting to feel pretty accurate, and it's just like the more he plays, the closer it gives validity to the mocking.
I know, but then you go back to last season and Brittany Brees' Instagram and revealing that he had all these injuries. And like Ralph said, he'll talk himself into it. And a huge part of that talking yourself into it process is saying, well, he had all these injuries last year.
Yeah, but
And,
his injuries
maybe
aren't getting better at his age. They're getting worse, right?
well, but maybe he'll come back next year and he won't have the injuries and he can play a full full season and
right.
be healthy. But again, we've
Sounds like you're hoping against hope.
Here,
I would look if you could say, Dave, what's your dream scenario? What do you want to happen? Obviously, it is 100% Drew Brees comes back one more year. He's healthy. He has a great season. He doesn't have to have a 2011, 2009, 2012, whatever season. But maybe something along the lines of 2017, 2018. And I'm not going to say wins the Super Bowl, but goes to another NFC Championship game or something like that, maybe.
here's my question for you
And
guys.
takes over the career touchdown
Yeah, he's got to
over Brady. Yeah, that's what I
But
want.
here's my question for you guys. What is something Saints related you totally talked yourself into, but in your heart you knew it was going to be a flaming fucking disaster and you talked yourself into it?
This podcast. I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I was going to say
Nice.
first, I talked myself into Fred Weary at corner back in the day. Ashley Ambrose the second time with the Saints. I was all in for Johnny Patrick at corner, Brandon Brown. Like
I
there's
thought
not a bad
Orlando
corner
Ruff could be
on Payton
okay at
era,
middle
but I
linebacker.
didn't talk myself into that they would be average and be good enough to make the defense.
When I was in college, one of my fraternity brothers was a Chargers fan, and he told me Orlando Ruff was terrible. He said, "I can't believe you picked that guy, and he's going to be your starting middle linebacker. He's awful." And I didn't listen to him, and I said, "Nah, Jim Haslett's a pretty good talent evaluator. I think Orlando Ruff's going to be pretty good for the Saints." I convinced myself of that. That was a low moment.
What's something you deluded yourself into believing?
Man, I don't know. There's so many. Most of them are cornerbacks.
We probably were all excited about Brandon Browner.
Yeah.
Here's the video of
Yeah.
Brees to Michael Thomas, right? It took you long enough, Thomas.
Yeah, way to go. You're quick on the draw there.
Yeah.
He's slower than me.
Yeah. Well, there was no way you would have even been able to pull up that video, let alone figure out how to share it with the world.
Let's not pretend, Ralph, you would have pulled that off at all. Yeah.
But no, I can't think of somebody in particular just off the top of my head. But like I said, there's probably a lot of cornerbacks on that list, and probably a couple of coaches. After the last, I've always wondered, like Steve Spagnuolo, he's done well with other teams. He's taken multiple teams to. Okay, maybe I shouldn't say he's taken multiple teams. I'll say he's been the defensive coordinator of multiple teams in multiple Super Bowls, and he was so horrendous for us. Like, how is that possible?
Well, I feel like with Spagnuolo, one of the things with him, Dave, was that in 2012, Sean Payton was gone, and the inmates were. No, that's a bad term. I won't say that because I got.
Yeah.
But like the players were like running the show, and the defense basically. Andrew, you know this. I think Shanley even said it. Like halfway through the year, they were like, "Fuck this guy. We're not." They didn't listen to him. Like they didn't pay attention. Like Sean Payton was gone. It was chaos in 2012. I think that's part of the reason why Spagnuolo probably failed, along with the defense being stocked.
Yeah, I mean, we'll never know what he would have been like with Sean Payton running the show. So in some ways, I think it's unfair. Yeah. But it's interesting in the sense that Greg Williams kind of ran his own thing, right? Sean Payton really had nothing to do with him. And everything else besides Greg Williams was kind of a failure. I mean, Gary Gibbs had like a minute there. But for the most part, all of his defensive coordinators were a joke. And It's
I don't know,
kind of
man. Rob
surprising.
Ryan
It's kind of
2013 was
surprising.
amazing.
Well, yeah, he was a flash in the pan for a second. I'll give you that. But I'm almost kind of surprised at how good and sustained Dennis Allen has been. But this is by far the best talent they've ever had to work with on defense.
No, I feel like we need longer production meetings and we need to plan this out because the thing that I want Thomas to show right now is Rob Ryan with the 2 cartons of ice cream. There's a picture of him floating around of that. I feel like we need long 2-3 hour production meetings.
I'll find it. I'll send it to you.
we need to have like that so Thomas can just flood people with ridiculous images. But
yeah, but like we have no idea where this podcast is going to go, where the conversation is going to lead. I mean, you would have never predicted
off a cliff into a disaster is where it's
before. Yeah, but I mean, like before we started this podcast tonight, there's no way you would have known that you needed the picture of Rob Ryan with 2.
yeah, fair enough. I had for my profile for the longest time, I had the Rob Ryan face when they lost to New England on the last play, and Rob Ryan had just had that sad face and his long gray hair.
I remember that.
But Dave, I also, in other not Saints news but NFL news, I thought of you in that it wasn't a rumor, it was reported in the Sports Business Journal that the NFL, like they've started to negotiate for the TV contracts because they're all up after this year. The NFL went to every single TV partner and they're like, we want double the money. So if they get double the money for all the TV contract, your bailout of Mickey Loomis happens.
Well, look, who could have seen this coming other than me? I've been saying it for like the entire season, like since before the season even started. Now, that's not to say it's going to happen, but yes, basically the NFL has gone back to all the networks and said we want double, which is just absolutely crazy, especially considering viewership numbers were down this year, like at least 7%, and they seem to be trending downward.
Still the most watched product of anything on TV.
Yeah, it is, but I don't really, from a business standpoint, I don't see how you could really could really legitimately ask for double and expect to get double, when your numbers are trending downward. That's just that doesn't make sense. Now, of course, this is business.
Here's the thing though, Dave, and I'll flip it to you, is the NFL is basically saying to all these networks, I dare you not to have NFL football on your channel in the fall. I dare you to try to put other programming on in the fall on Sunday. I dare you.
Right.
I don't think they'll get double, but I bet you they get damn near close to double. I bet you, Andrew, they get a 50% increase, at least a 75%.
Yeah, I
increase.
mean, you got to start high if you want to. There's a Rob Ryan, sad Rob Ryan. But I think you start high, right? That's how negotiations work.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And
if they end up getting 50% more, that's great.
And they very well may get 50% more. And I don't think that they're necessarily threatening these networks. And I don't think that the NFL has any plans to, leave any of the networks or abandon any of the networks and go to somebody else. I think they just would like, their ideal situation would be just to get more money out of the networks that they currently have. I think, and they may get more money. And just as the background, going back to earlier, they're doing this obviously, or the timing of this was totally predictable. Like I have been saying this whole time, because they want more money, because they want to be able to raise the salary cap so that they can help out their teams as far as signing these players, and especially since revenues were so much lower this year because of COVID. So this is all very predictable.
Do you think, Andrew, that if Amazon has enough money, they can buy whatever the fuck they want?
Yeah, they could.
If Amazon went to the NFL and said, we'll give you double, hell, we'll give you triple. We don't give a fuck. We just want the NFL, and we're going to put it on NFL. We're going to put it on Amazon Prime. So if you want to watch NFL football, you have to have Amazon Prime. And NFL, we're going to triple your broadcast revenue. Do you think the NFL would take all the games off of free TV and put it on Amazon Prime? I think they would.
Absolutely. Yes.
And the salary cap can be $280 million, and Loomis can laugh and laugh and laugh.
Yeah.
Does
Dave, you're
Does
muted.
this make you, Andrew? I guess I'll start with you. Does this make you?
I
Thomas
appreciate
can't
that.
help you.
feel much
Thomas
about
can't help you with that.
TV revenue? Does it make you feel a little bit salary cap with the Saints?
Wait, what, Ralph? Sorry, we were all having our own conversation without you.
Yeah, because
What? What did you say?
I said, does it make you feel that the rumor with the NFL asking for double, does it make you even more confident that the Saints are going to be fine cap wise?
Yeah, I think the cap is going to be, I think the timing of this, I think they're trying to get this deal done with the networks before the start of the new NFL year. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. It's not that long away. What is it, March 1st or shortly after that? So I don't know. I'm pretty sure the cap is going to be set at what people are saying now, which was, what was it, 180? What was it?
180, yeah. That's what they think.
180. So I mean, again, unless a new deal gets made with these networks in the next week or so or whatever, I think it'll probably just be around there. I would expect it.
Yeah, the other Saints news that broke.
But God, could you imagine? What if it went to like 190 or 195? Like that would be fucking.
Oh my God.
That would be awesome.
Andrew,
Well, 188 is kind of the rumor right now.
if
188
Andrew,
without any new network deals.
if the network TV contract of the NFL owner's dream, let's not say it's Amazon, but let's say it's close to 100% more, and the cap is 205 million. I know. Does that mean
This year?
Saints,
You're talking about this year.
I'm talking about this year. If it's 195 to 205 million, let's give it a range. If it's close to 200 million, can the Saints, could they keep Marcus Williams, keep Trey Hendrickson, and do some other shit? Like if it's close to 200 million, does it basically mean that they can keep the whole roster together if they want?
I think so. Well, so you got to look at it. I don't know where the cutoff is for Mickey Loomis, but you got to think for every $5 million that he saves. I love this Rob Ryan picture. Guys, we're gonna be okay. I just ate Percy Harvin. That's a great meme. But it's like, let's say the Saints are at 180, right? And let's say it gets bumped up to 185. Boom, you get to keep Malcolm Brown, right? And I think a lot of fans may say, oh, we don't need to keep Malcolm Brown. He's not that big of a deal. But he's an important rotation guy for stopping the run. And then, okay, give him another $5 million. And all of a sudden we get to keep Janoris Jenkins, or we get to keep some other guy on the roster that we were planning on cutting. So every $5-10 million you add, that's one less piece they have to remove. I think they have the money to re-sign Marcus Williams, and I think they have the money to work a deal with Jameis Winston, because, again, remember, it's not just about the cap this year. It's next year, and they can add voidable years and all that. I think it's more about how many free agents can they add on top of that.
If they can keep Trey Hendrickson and Marcus Williams, it would be the most fun off-season thing they've ever done. Maybe, I think it would be it'll give me more joy than that night that I thought they had Clowney. If they could keep both, I am not gonna lie.
More joy than the night I thought they had Jimmy Graham back.
More joy than when the Pels got Zion.
No, nothing compares to that.
Well, hey.
Was that you that did that, or was that you,
little-
or was that Thomas?
No, that was me.
Uh.
I just
Plus,
want to say
Thomas would have done it quicker too.
they would have done it
Yes.
quicker. The Pelicans came back from 24 down today and won in overtime against the Celtics.
It was amazing.
Celtics
Yeah,
were
it was a
very
sick
pumped.
game.
I was pumped.
So
And JJ
you know,
Redick
the
got
Saints
ejected.
The Saints did have actual news that broke late over the weekend that Andrew knew about and hoarded. Zach Strief is not going to be play-by-play guy anymore. And he's going to be assistant offensive line coach for the Saints. And Andrew was sworn to secrecy because he's best buds with Zach Strief. It's true. But here's the thing. I'm sad about this for a lot of reasons, Andrew. One is because Zach Strief was really good. Like I know he's only been the play-by-play guy for 3 years, but he was getting really good at it. Second of all, he was a fun media person, which was awesome. Third of all, he liked this podcast, came on as a guest and made it fun, and he would come on 2-3 times a year. That's gone now that he's going to be assistant offensive line coach. But most of all, Andrew, I thought he liked his lifestyle of owning a brewery, being the play-by-play guy. Like, that seems like a really great, cushy life. Now he's going to be
Sign me up.
offensive line coach. God, he's going to be working 20 hours a day. Like, that just seems not as fun.
Yeah. You know, I think, well, first of all, the Saints really wanted him. And I think that speaks to just how much they love him in the building. And, you know, it's one of those things where I just think he kind of thought he was the next 30 years of his career were going to be as the voice of the Saints. I think he really thought that was being. I'm not going to speak for him. He can speak for himself, but my understanding is that he thought he was going to do that for the rest of his professional career. And you know, this opportunity came up, and I just think he was already kind of doing it. He was texting with the offensive line coach. He was texting with the players like, hey, I'm seeing this. And he was already doing a lot of that stuff, you know, helping out, coaching. And I think it just at the end of the day felt like this is what I do. And why not just go back in the building and actually do it for real?
You know, the
But
Saints.
good news for Juge, though, because maybe now Zach can get you unblocked by Payton on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw you're stealing that from my dad. We just said that in the chat. But yeah,
That's Mr. Steven.
look, if Connor can't get me unblocked by coach, I think it's hopeless.
Unblocking you is it's just too much. It's an effort that Sean Payton isn't willing to do and isn't willing to learn. Once you are blocked by Payton, you are in the black hole. You're never
Connor Payton said I got you. I'm going to make this happen, and then he couldn't. So I'm telling you, it's hopeless.
Well, then he talked to his dad. Then he talked to his dad, and he was like, "Fuck that! I'm not unblocking Juge. Are you fucking kidding me?"
That's exactly what happened.
You made that medicine cabinet joke. Fuck that.
And there's probably been like 3 people that have like approached Payton and been like, "Hey, do you know Andrew Juge? Can you unblock that guy?" And he's like,
"No,
who the fuck is this?"
And he's like, the audio on his podcast
like
is
3
terrible.
people. Jude sent me a thing. Is like,
Painful.
please unblock these people. I unblock people, you know. But here's my question. I want the Saints. They hired Strief and made the New Orleans media less interesting and less fun. They need to hire Nick Underhill as like a nerd analyst, whatever. And Sean Payton's devious plan to just leave the New Orleans media a burning husk of nothing. And then we can be the king of the graveyard because there'll be nothing left. That is what I want the Saints to do.
But then he's going to hire Dave as a mascot, and he'll be the Candy Man.
The Candyman can, 'cause he mixes it with love and makes the world go round.
So I appreciated Juge trying to get people on Twitter to tweet the Saints that I should be the play-by-play guy, but it's probably going to be Mike Haas.
Yeah.
But also, I want to say this too. People on Twitter, like Chris, how do you say
Not
his
if
name?
the Saints have any courage.
Rose Vugla?
Huh?
Andrew?
Huh?
Rose Vugla and all these other Saints people. They are tweeting out
Rose
made
Vuglu?
up fucking names of players that they know I cannot pronounce.
You can't even pronounce
"We're gonna
the
virtual visit with
guy's name, let alone the players. You can't even pronounce the name of the guy that's tweeting you, let alone
I
the
can't.
guys that he's tweeting about.
Yeah.
That's
But
incredible.
Rosvugla, is that right? I feel bad. 'Cause he show like twice.
It's just call him Chris. It's I'm pretty
But
sure
my
it's Rose.
point
I'm
is,
pretty sure it's
I don't think
Rosevoglu.
these players are real names. I think they're just made up names that people do, and they tag me in the tweet and they giggle because they know that I will never be able to pronounce that name because it's not a real name, it's made up.
They just banged on the keyboard a few times, and
Yeah,
just
like-
whatever letters came together. That's the player's name.
Tell me I'm wrong. Prove me I'm wrong. So, but
We'll do some mock drafts when we get close to the draft season. We should do a mock draft where we have to select the most difficult name, like in the top 10 left on the board, and make Ralph say all their names at the end. That would be fun.
yeah, no, I think we did that last year. Right? We did the draft where you could only do names that I couldn't pronounce. And
Yeah.
now that we are
We got to do that again.
We are PFF members. We got the membership and we thanks to the patrons, one of the things we do, they have a really, Andrew, you were playing with their tool. They have like a really cool like draft simulator tool, right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, super cool.
Yeah. So we'll be doing all kinds of mock drafts and stuff. So I guess the play-by-play guy, they're gonna get Zach Streep's leaving. I guess it's gonna be Mike Haas. People were saying Joel Myers, but he's TV, and unless they're gonna like fly him to the games, and like I don't see him doing Pelicans and Saints.
I mean, this is totally Homer. I love Zach. This is total Homer, and I love Zach. But like a dark horse prediction would be, I think that he would move up the coaching staff ranks pretty quickly. And
really,
I would say it would not surprise me if in 3 years he's the offensive coordinator. And before you call me crazy, think about his personality. Think about his skills as a communicator. I think he'd be a really good teacher for young players. I think he's incredibly smart. And I think as we talk about Pete Carmichael not getting a job all these years, I kind of think if this offense can be successful post Brees, that might be what it takes to get Carmichael over the hump to maybe get a job.
I said this to Juge in a chat, Dave, and I 100% believe it. If the Saints win with Jameis Winston, and let's say they win a 5th division title, and Jameis is like comeback player of the year, I believe 100% Sean Payton, assistants on his staff, are going to be like McVay for the Rams, where remember when McVay, after he got Goff good, anybody who had coffee with him, they're like, you want to run our offense? Cool. I really believe that with the Saints. Like if Sean Payton can turn Jameis Winston around and they win a 5th straight division title, Carmichael, Curtis Johnson, like all of them are gonna get jobs. Every team that needs an offensive coordinator, they're gonna be looking for. They're gonna hire interns. They might hire me if I can see Sean Payton at Danny and Clyde's pumping gas. A team might be dumb enough to hire me. I really believe that. Tell me I'm wrong, Dave.
I don't know if I can get on board with that. I mean, first of all, if Carmichael hasn't left yet, he's not going anywhere. That's the way I feel about Carmichael.
You don't think the offense being successful without Brees would be enough to raise his resume?
You don't think that plenty of teams would have gladly taken Carmichael? I don't think Carmichael has any desire to go anywhere else. I just really don't.
Oh, that's
only
false.
interviewed
That
one
is
time.
false.
He interviewed for the Rams job in 2011. That's the only.
You don't think that he's had opportunities? You don't think that there's a market out there
not.
for the guy who's run the best offense for the last 15 years?
No.
I don't
know. Because everyone thinks it's Sean Payton and Drew Brees.
NFL coaches, especially guys that are coordinators, they all want head jobs. They all want like they want because there's only 32 of these jobs. Right? All these dudes, they work 100 hours a week. They all want to be a head coach. Especially guys that are coordinators. I believe that. So I believe Carmichael. I believe he's very happy where he is. I 100% believe if a team interviewed him, he'd 100% take the job if he got.
He would.
Head
100%.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. The only other thing I could believe is that there are certain position coaches, not head coaches, but position coaches that are untouchable. That basically head coaches say, look, this is my guy. I don't want anybody sniffing around him. I don't want to. And sometimes I wonder, like, if Pete Carmichael is like that guy. Like Sean Payton has a thing with Pete Carmichael. He's been around for a long time. He trusts him. And there's just like this unwritten head coach rule that there are certain guys that you're just not allowed to touch because
That's maybe the most ridiculous thing you've ever said.
Call me QB Anon. Do whatever you want to do.
I mean, how else do you explain? Belichick has literally lost every awesome assistant coach he's had.
Maybe Belichick doesn't give a shit. Maybe Belichick doesn't give a shit. He doesn't care about his players. He'll let a player go. He knows when to sell high and buy low, so maybe he doesn't give a shit about his coaches either.
Yes, I'm sure his most trusted assistants are cool with staying as opposed to getting a head coach.
Anyway, I disagree with you. I don't think Carmichael wants to go anywhere. I think if Carmichael wanted to go somewhere, I think he could have gone somewhere else by now.
Maybe, I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I disagree.
How many? Look, Thomas, look this up, okay? I want to know the length of tenure of offensive coordinators in the league right now. I feel like that's not a job where people stick around for a long time. How long has Pete Carmichael been offensive coordinator for the Saints? How many years?
Well, as long as Sean Payton's been there.
Okay.
Right?
No, I think he was like quarterback coach for like 2 years, and then they promoted him.
I want to know how many other offensive coordinators have kept their job for that long. I guarantee you.
That's a direct extension of Sean Payton being the head coach for that long.
Stop. This is
what? You think
you're belittling Carmichael? You're saying Carmichael has nothing to do with this. That's an insult to Carmichael.
I'm not saying that Carmichael has nothing to do with it. I'm saying that the league believes he has failed to get a job elsewhere because the league believes this is Sean Payton's deal. He's the one calling the plays. He's the one that designed the offense. Drew Brees is the one executing it. Carmichael is
okay. Let me tell you something. Even if
that's not what I believe.
No, I understand that. Let's say all that was true. Let's say Sean Payton has been doing all this. You don't want to take a flyer on a guy who's been learning from that guy for 11 fucking years? He's been an apprentice. He's been an apprentice. The league loves those guys. The league loves those young guys. So, look, I'm telling you, Carmichael doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to be a head coach. I am very adamant about this.
He wants to be a head coach. You're wrong. But, here's the thing. So Dan Campbell just got a job, right? Did you listen to his interview? Did you listen to his introductory presser?
He wants to bite it. I don't know. It's bizarre.
Yeah. Kneecap people or something. So Campbell, he's a rah-rah type A. He's like the blueprint, like what you imagine an NFL head coach being. Okay. Pete Carmichael is soft-spoken. He's unassuming. He's the nerd with the glasses. Like he is not like. I just don't think he's a guy that's winning over an NFL owner in an interview.
He's got that Tony Dungy vibe.
I agree with you.
Yes,
That team.
And that's why he doesn't have a job.
He didn't get a head coaching job for the longest time because he was low-key, he's very religious, and he was black. So it was like a double whammy against Dungy. Pete Carmichael has half of that. He's got that low-key nerd vibe. And when you interview, like a lot of these owners, they want the rah-rah masculine own the room cliche. Like they need to see that. They need to feel that. And Carmichael doesn't have that. But to Dave's point,
wait. I have more to say about this. And you're right. Carmichael doesn't have that. And I think Carmichael knows that he doesn't have that. And I think Carmichael knows that he's not head coach material. He doesn't want to be a head coach. Okay. Now my buddy, our buddy Sean. Our buddy Kevin Held.
God, I hate to hear that.
Our buddy Kevin Held just sent me a message on Facebook. It is a tweet from Field Yates from January of this year, and it says, Pete Carmichael Jr. of the Saints and Josh McDaniels of the Patriots and technically Kyle Shanahan too, are the only offensive coordinators to be with their current team since before 2018. Just 2018, just 3 years. There's only 3 offensive coordinators that have been with the team longer than 3 years. No coaching position is turning over faster in the NFL than offensive coordinators. Pete Carmichael has topped out as offensive coordinator, and he's got himself a nice cushy gig in New Orleans under Sean Payton, and he's not going anywhere. So to answer Ralph's question from earlier about whether our staff is going to get pillaged and plundered, maybe, but it's not going to be Carmichael.
I really hope we can revisit this after the Saints go 11-5 next January.
Yeah,
Dave.
we're saving this podcast for
We're
a
saving
day
it.
and
yeah.
time when Pete
Timestamp
Carmichael
this shit.
leaves. Yeah. I can't wait till he
When Pete
leaves.
Carmichael gets the New England Patriots head coach.
No, you know what it'll be? It'll be like freaking Illinois, right? He'll be like the head coach of Illinois.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
no, that's not that. I'm not saying college. I'm talking about the NFL.
Carmichael, he was born to be the Vanderbilt Commodores head coach.
He's
was
going to be
born
the
to be
North
that.
Carolina Tar Heels head coach, and I'm going to rub it all
No,
in your
Mac
face,
Brown's
Dave.
there. Mac Brown's
Well,
going to be there.
Mac Brown's going to retire.
I'm talking about the NFL. I'm not talking about college. That's not fair. And thank you, Kevin, for the tweet, for the tidbit.
So wait, but why wouldn't a head coaching job in college be even less exciting? Wouldn't that disprove your point even more?
No, it wouldn't be less exciting than being offensive coordinator in the NFL.
I don't know.
But it would be less
I don't know,
exciting than
man.
being head coach of an NFL
Head coach
team.
at
If he's leaving
Vanderbilt,
the Saints
Dave,
to
it
go to
might
head coach a college team, that's less appealing than leaving to go be a head coach of a pro team, which would further disprove your point.
Believe whatever you want to believe. I can assure you that's not happening. He's not going to be a head coach of any college team.
Timestamp this.
I'm not worried about it. I'm not worried about it.
So, before we get to me and Dave talking about getting our asses frozen off all week, especially me in Texas where it was a calamity, we need to talk actual Saints off-season stuff, and we just gonna do some previews. And I want to talk about, Andrew, the one position I want to start tonight is offensive defensive line. I think the offensive line is pretty set in that they're going to move McCoy, right? They're going to put Ruiz at center.
I mean, we think so, yeah.
They feel pretty locked in. You know, they're probably going to extend Ramczyk. They feel pretty locked in. I don't think they would draft a guy high on the offensive line unless like the rating for the dude was ridiculous, like Ramczyk was in 2017. But on the defensive line, they may lose Hendrickson. They're probably going to move on from Rankins. They may move on from Malcolm Brown. Cam Jordan is on the other side of 30, and he had a down year. Like, I feel defensive line could be a position where not only do they pick in the first round, I believe defensive line could be a position where they pick multiple positions on defensive line in the draft this year.
Yeah, defensive line, like, they're probably going to lose Hendrickson. Cam Jordan looks like he's declining. Malcolm Brown is a potential cut. Davenport could be gone in a year, and he's starting to look like a bust, right? There's a ton of question marks. That Sheldon Rankins might be gone. So there could be a ton of turnover. And, yeah, I'm with you. I think they need to get younger. I think they need to get more talented. And, look, time is up with Rankins, I think. I don't think he'll come back, and it may be with Hendrickson too. And those are guys they drafted that really bolstered their rotation. And so you got to restock there, and you're not going to be able – we know how expensive free agent sack guys are. You want to go out and get a double-digit sack guy, it's going to cost you big time. So the best way to combat that is to get young talent, get draft picks. And Granderson is a great start. Granderson's a nice little rotational piece they have. They got a couple defensive tackles in there. Shai Tuttle and Malcolm Roach were nice little pickups. So they've got some potential there. But, yeah, they need more talent. And so I agree with you, Ralph. I think defensive line is certainly in play with the first round pick. And we could see them pick a couple in the draft this year.
Dave, you know that, like, basically for every sack you have as a player, it's $1 million in your salary base, kind of, almost. But my question to you is, how concerned would you be if they lost Hendrickson and they lost Malcolm Brown and they didn't add a guy in the draft in, let's say, the first 3 rounds? How concerned would you be about the defensive line?
And they didn't draft somebody? Yeah, that would be very concerning. They've got some guys that are great for depth, but I mean, they need another. Look, Cam Jordan really didn't show up on the sack stat sheet last season too much. That doesn't mean everything, obviously, but if you lose Hendrickson, who had your 13 and a half sacks or whatever it was, and you lose Rankins or Malcolm Brown or somebody like that, and then you don't even. I mean, I'm assuming that. Tell me in your scenario that they sign a veteran or something. I mean, come on, throw me a bone here, give me something. Because no, if they don't address it and they lose players, that would be concerning. They definitely need to.
I mean,
they
but
definitely need to get better on defensive line.
It's just hard to find, like, even old dudes that have like a one final breakout year. They get, like guys that even have 7, 8 sacks that are over 30, like teams will pay them like 1 year, $7.5, $8 million. Who's the guy? Cameron Wake. He's damn near 40. Tennessee. I mean, he's washed up now, but Tennessee gave him like 2 years, 16 million, I believe, in 2019. So teams are desperate for pass rush. That's why Hendrickson is going to get paid out the ass, right, Andrew? Like,
Totally.
I just think the Saints could be in a very difficult spot where they're going to be depending on a high draft pick to give them pass rush, and that's never a good thing. Because Andrew, didn't you do a column or something for the patrons a while ago where, like, if you're not drafted in the first round, the chances that you get 10 sacks is like basically Trey Hendrickson for the Saints, that's like hitting the Powerball. Like that
Yes.
never happens, right?
You're correct. Yeah. Almost all double-digit sack guys are first-round picks, categorically.
Yeah, that's why they should sign JJ Watt. We need to make that happen.
They can't afford. I mean, like, how much JJ Watt's going to cost as much as Trey
Oh,
Hendrickson, if not more? No.
He's such a
JJ
big
Watt.
name. He'll cost a fortune. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're not going to sign if that's your move. You might as well just re-sign Trey Hendrickson.
If you think about how much money Ndamukong Suh's been getting the last few years, Watt will get that and more.
I mean, what did Ndamukong Suh in 2018? What did the Rams give him? Like 1 year, 18
1 year,
million?
10 million or something. Yeah.
And that's about what he makes for Tampa now, right?
Yeah, 8 to 10 million a year. Yeah.
Ndamukong Suh in the Super Bowl, he might be old or whatever. He was a fucking animal. I know Kansas City's offensive line was all a shambles, but they were putting him all over the place. He was amazing. It was like
it helped him a lot that Vita Vea was back. That Vita Vea made a big difference in that game for him.
Yeah. Vita Vea, he was a guy. He was injured the whole year. He like broke his leg or something.
Yeah. Suh was 1 year. He had a 1 year deal this year for $8 million.
So before we get to the mailbag, the questions, Andrew's in charge of that. I want to say thanks to everybody who reached out to me on Twitter and patrons. Some patrons messaged me, worried about me in Texas because, as you know, Texas was a calamity. They had the worst winter storm in Texas in like 100 years. Lost power, lost water, complete chaos. But I want to thank everybody for reaching out to me. And it was the right choice to go last Sunday, because if we hadn't recorded the big show last Sunday night, we wouldn't have had podcasts all week, because Texas was it was incredible, Dave. Like, that's my backyard. The roads, like, it was like an inch of snow, and in North Houston, I mean, it was like a winter fucking wonderland. I can never remember, Dave, and you've lived in New Orleans a long time. I can never, and it's sort of basically, I can never remember a time in my life where it got cold living in New Orleans or Texas, where it dropped below freezing and stayed that way for a week. Like, this winter storm was bananas.
That's actually a picture of your yard, Ralph.
That is
Yeah.
that is a picture. That is a picture of my yard. You do not see to the right my new patio furniture that's probably ruined because of sub-freezing temperatures that happened for a week. That I-
There was a winter. I want to say 2, 3, or 4 years ago here in New Orleans where it did get very cold and it got below freezing. I don't know about for a week, but at least 3, 4 days. And I know that because all of my pipes busted at the store, and I was like frantically needing a water key so I can shut the water off to my building, so I could so they could stop spewing water, and I could get somebody over there to fix them. So there was one winter, but it didn't shut the city down anywhere close to what it did for you guys in Houston. And it's crazy because all the stuff that happens, because it was cold, it froze for one night in New Orleans. It wasn't really a big deal. Ralph hasn't showered in a week and hasn't had power and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah,
Forget it.
it was glorious.
I've been taking warm showers, and I'm cooking and watching TV. Everything's fine over here. But we did have the one night where it got cold, and I forgot where I was going with that.
Well, I
Anyway.
just want to say this, not to make it political, but god damn it. And if I don't have power and I can't flush my toilet, I'm gonna blame people. And like Texas couldn't even be bothered to wrap the pipes. Like they're like, winterize. Yeah, we don't need to do that. Like, when's it ever gonna get cold here? It's never gonna happen. So I mean, it's bad. I mean, look, we still can't drink the water in Pearland, but the toilet's flush, so that's nice.
Well,
And you take a shower,
we
you
have
don't have to drink the water.
boil water advisories 4 or 5
Every other
times a year in New Orleans. Yeah, so
It's not like, oh, they told me to boil my water.
yeah, we're used to that. That's not I don't feel so bad for that. But no power sucks. No heat definitely sucks. That's what I was gonna say. So yeah, but so obviously in Texas you guys had huge problem, but it still affects everywhere else. Like, so here in Louisiana, Trader Joe's. My wife wanted to go shopping at Trader Joe's today. I said,
My
"You can't."
wife.
My wife. I said, "You can't do that because I saw on social media like Trader Joe's
My
was
wife.
totally empty. The shelves were totally bare because all their shipments come from Texas, and nobody could leave Texas. Me at my store, actually, I order stuff from warehouses in Dallas all the time, and it's normally a next day ship, and so I'm missing a bunch of stuff for some of my customers and some of my orders that I'm still waiting on because
Well,
they haven't been
I
able
gotta
to be
say,
delivered.
the grocery looked worse than at the beginning of the pandemic. And I thought at the beginning of the pandemic in March, the groceries being empty was bananas. I went to the grocery on Thursday and it was barren. I mean, and I'm not talking like
Right.
they didn't have stuff like you could be like, oh, I can get this. I mean, like aisles were empty, fucking nothing. Produce section empty. Meat section not a thing. Cheese section none of it. We ended up having
Sounds
to get.
like Ralph is gonna have to settle for red beans
It
and
is.
rice.
We ended up having to make chili pies. We had to get like HEB chili and like a bag of HEB imitation Fritos, and that's what we made Frito pies.
Wait, Ralph, inquiring minds want to know, when you're in the middle of a pandemic winter blackout, does your wife still leave clothes out, your outfit out the next day for you? Or does it really not matter what you're wearing? So she just lets you just go
told me,
nuts?
Yeah, do
wear
you
the
get a dealer's
same
choice
thing
wild
because I
card day?
can't clothes. So I literally wore the same thing every day except
Oh,
for
well, that's
changing my
good when you're not showering. Yeah, that's good.
because you don't have water. You can't wash
Is
clothes.
it good
You don't have
though,
water.
Dave? Is it
No,
really good?
I was being facetious. I would think if you're not showering, the least you'd want to do is change your clothes. By wearing
Well,
the
yeah,
same clothes every day, you're just exacerbating the situation.
Well, I was worried too. If Drew Brees would have retired, Channel 4 would have had me on and I would have looked
Oh.
like a homeless person. I would have
Well,
looked even more normal because
you would have had to go to Starbucks to do it. You didn't have power. How would you have been able to do it?
well, no, water was the main issue. We had power. We had power starting on Tuesday, off and on. We would have it, and then they would cut off, and we'd have it and cut off. I guess they do the rolling blackouts, but we didn't have. We got power consistently back like Thursday morning.
Man, Eric Paulson would roast the shit out of you if you were doing your live feed from like your car, your Prius.
No,
It would
best
be
was
less
from
East's
Starbucks,
greatest
and
day.
they bring me my order as
Yeah.
I'm doing the live shot.
You're at a Taco Bell.
No, Popeyes ran out of. Fredo says Popeyes ran out of chicken. They did. It was bad times. So Andrew, Thomas, fire up the music. It's question time.
Are we going to talk about the coldest blooded Saints? Or are we doing that after the questions?
We'll get there.
Okay. Are you going to do the Ralph Shuffle?
There you go.
Are you
There
gonna
we
do
go.
Are you gonna do the shake weight jerking off into your mouth?
I don't hear the music, but it's okay. I'll just dance anyway.
You don't hear it?
Oh.
Oh, sounds beautiful as ever.
So Andrew, fire. By the way, become a patron, and you get access to our Discord channel, and you get access to all of our content. And oh, by the way, I forgot to mention it because I'm a dumbass. We have a new sponsor. eBay Sneakers is a sponsor of the podcast. If
What?
you
Are we getting free sneakers?
No, but if
God
you
damn
buy a pair of sneakers on eBay and send us the receipt, you get entered into the raffle. We're raffling off 4 pairs of Air Force Ones through Armchair
Whoa.
Media. So
That's cool.
send us the receipt. You can get entered into the raffle. Go to eBay. They have their new classic sneakers.
Are we
It's-
allowed to enter?
They authenticate us. They authenticate sneakers and everything. It's great.
Okay. Well, I didn't
You're
hear a word that Ralph just said there, but anyway, okay, so the first question is from Bud Rich. And he had a couple questions. The first one is, if the Bears go all out and give Jameis a massive deal, would you sacrifice a third and a conditional 2022 pick to the Jets for Darnold?
No. I look at Darnold and I'm like, no, just roll with Taysom and go and get Taysom and go get Fitzmagic and let's get weird in 2021. Don't trade for Darnold.
And Dave, he also wants to know Darnold or Jameis for QB in 2021.
Oh my God.
You know.
Miss me with that Darnold shit.
Yeah, I'm feeling you. All right, this question number 2 is from Chris Moss.
No Moss.
He wants to know what is the worst round of the playoffs to lose in, considering heartache, draft position, and whatever else you think matters.
Yes, the answer is yes.
I don't know. I mean, I losing in the Super Bowl, I would say at least you made it there. To me, that's not as. I know, like, you're right there. And
That's not even really the playoffs. I don't even really consider the Super Bowl the playoffs.
Yeah, right. Like, to be able to say we made a Super Bowl would be in of itself, I think, incredible. So
any home loss in the playoffs to me is brutal, no matter what the round. Because if you're the home team, you're better, right? So like losing to Tampa, losing to Minnesota last year. The only road loss that the Saints have ever suffered in the playoffs that really, really ate at me was San Francisco in 2011. Even Minnesota, the Minnesota Miracle, that didn't bother me. The Beastquake didn't really bother me. The San Francisco loss in 2011 did, but any playoff loss that's a home loss, to me, is always brutal. It doesn't matter the rank.
I think to answer the question specifically, if you were to ask me which round, I think the NFC Championship is the worst, because then you're so close to the Super Bowl. And I just think the 2 times the Saints have lost in that game, they were painful in their own ways, but the no call will always be the worst for me.
Always.
Unless you lose to the Atlanta Falcons. The playoff games where you lose to the Falcons might be the worst. Speaking from experience, unfortunately. All right. ZNWR wants to know, why is Drew taking so long to announce his retirement?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, we kind of already addressed that at the top of the show, but we don't
Give
know.
us more
Maybe he's
content.
thinking about it.
Talk about.
Yeah, he's
But-
just...
But Ralph, and his second part of his question is, would Sean Payton start him again next year if he decides to come back?
He ain't coming back to be no fucking hold no clipboard, motherfucker, okay? Don't get it twisted. Drew Brees is not coming back to be fucking backup quarterback.
That is 100% fact.
Timestamp that shit, Thomas.
Well, no, I don't think he means that. I think he means more like, would Sean Payton be like, nah, I don't want you? Is there any chance if Drew comes back? I guess the question is, if Drew comes back, is it
No, I think they
definitive
would take him. Yes, they would take him.
no
Is-
matter
is-
what?
I mean, isn't that what Mickey's always said? Like, he'll
has
play
said
as long
that.
as he wants to play.
That is fair. Yeah. So if Drew says I'm back, the Saints take him no matter what. That's your answer. So does that specifically mean Jameis doesn't come back if Drew does? Has to, right? Ralph, you muted yourself.
I don't know. I think if Jameis is smart, he sticks around one more year. He's still young, and then he gets a shot. I don't know.
I mean, 2 years on the bench. The thing is for Jameis though, is like if Drew comes back, he can go to the Bears, he can go to New England he can go there. I mean, they might pay him even less than what the Saints were gonna pay him, but he can start. Like he goes to the Bears for like 1 year, $4 million. Like he's 100% starting. He goes to New England, he's 100% starting. So, I think if Drew comes back, Winston's 100% gone.
All right. The next one I have is from Down with Disease. He wants to know, outside of QB, what is the one position group that you would upgrade this offseason and why?
Again, my answer to that is yes.
If I have to pick one, I think I'm gonna steal Andrew's answer. That like 5 weeks of Kwan Alexander, where he was amazing and could run sideline to sideline and be great and have speed that we didn't see the Saints ever have at linebacker. Like I can't go back. That's like 4K TV. Like once you see soccer in 4K, you cannot go back. I can't go back to shitty slow linebackers. The Saints gotta draft somebody at linebacker that can run, that they can pair with Demario Davis.
I mean, I think that's a good answer. D-line would be up there too. Otherwise, dark horse punter.
No, they got the dude. He got the Payton red shirt.
Well,
They
maybe.
got the Penn State guy.
Man, I wish I could find this tweet from Andrew Brandt because I
the one
love
that
this
I shared?
Yeah, this is from Balky, and I love this question, and it's tongue-in-cheek. But it relates to a tweet that Andrew Brandt had, and I'm trying to locate the tweet, but I can't find it this quickly. But the nuts and bolts of Andrew Brandt's tweet was, it's not cap wizardry or cap genius to do what Mickey Loomis does. What's genius is to be under the cap and actually manage it correctly. That's what real cap wizardry is. And so Balky's question.
Go ahead.
What? Oh, so Balky's question is, considering the well-known fact among the national media that Mickey Loomis is a terrible GM, especially with the salary cap, how much better would the Saints be if they had a competent GM who knew how to always have $40 million in cap space?
Yeah, like the Bengals.
Like the Jags.
Here's the thing. If you have cap space and you are winning, it's because A, your quarterback's on a rookie deal, or B, you just have a bunch of dudes that you haven't paid yet, or C, you suck like the Jaguars. Those are the only three options to having a bunch of cap space.
Yeah.
The only team that I can remember that's had decent amount of cap space and won, New England, throughout some of their stretches of winning, has had cap space, but they haven't had a ton of cap space. Like, you have to pay you're good players, and there's no way around that. And the only way to do it is to be like Cincinnati, is you can win and then not pay them and they can leave. Like, I just think that sounds great, that what he said, that tweet, but it's bullshit. Like, if you win, you have good players, and if you have good players, you have fucking cap problem.
I have the tweet. Word for word, he said, and a note about managing an NFL salary cap. It doesn't take a quote-unquote cap guru or quote-unquote cap wizard to constantly restructure and push out cap charges to bring down the current cap. It takes a cap guru or cap wizard to not have to do that. A lot of people
Can
unlike
you send that link to in the chat to Thomas so he can?
A lot of the well, I don't know if Thomas can just find it. It's in the Saints talk. It's not that far up in the Saints talk thing.
But just send a link in the chat, and then he'll be able to put it on.
All right. Well, that's between my phone and my computer. That's like a big pain in the ass to do. But a lot of people in the Twitter replies seem to think that Howie Roseman is somebody that he was referencing there. The Green Bay Packers, having to go, maybe going big and getting J.J. Watt or whatever. But I didn't see anything about Mickey.
I don't know. The thing is, man, the Saints,
But I think Mickey applies for sure.
The last 2-3 years, especially, they went all out to try to get a goal.
Ralph, get your mic closer to your mouth. You sound like shit.
I sound like terrible.
That's better.
Yeah.
There you go.
So, I mean, they tried to win a Super Bowl. They went all out. They did it didn't work, but what can you do? I mean, I would much rather when you know your window is open, that my team did everything they could,
Totally.
then we had a once in a lifetime quarterback. But you know what? In 2023, our cap is going to be pristine, and we're going to have $90 million. Who gives a fuck? Like, we tried to win the Super Bowl. They went all in. It didn't work. They got screwed because of the no call. Other things happened. Kwan Alexander was a sneaky big injury against Tampa because Anzalone got lit up and roasted.
Whoa. Nice.
But
that was a test. You passed.
It just pisses me off that people like Brand. It grinds my gears, as Peter Griffin would say.
All right, well, Ralph, I got something to put you in a better mood. This next question is also from Budrich. He wants you to pronounce this name. I'm not gonna try to pronounce it, but there it is. If you
have to look in the chat.
Yeah.
The edge rusher from Vanderbilt.
I see. Daya Adeyingbo?
That's not bad. I think.
Adi Yangbo might be right.
You know how I would say it? This is how I would say it. Dale. Oh, Dayangbo.
He'd be a great
Daylight command me one go. Oh.
All right. Well,
they can put him. You can have a whole sound bank of that. We could just drop that sound bite repeatedly.
All right.
He's not dead.
Question 7 from Crescendo 2020. He wants to know if you could win one more Super Bowl exactly, so 2 total, but you had to have 4-12 at best seasons outside of the 2 Super Bowls, and your QB was Jay Cutler instead of Drew. Would you do it?
100%. 100%. Like, does Jay Cutler win the Super Bowl, or do you just have to suffer with Jay Cutler in the 4-12?
For clarification, Jay Cutler had been the QB from 2006 until current in order to get that Super Bowl.
Is it smoking Jay Cutler? Because that makes a difference. If it's smoking Jay Cutler, fucking sign me up. As Ralph would say, my body is ready.
How much of that time period does Kristen Cavallari stay with him in New Orleans? Because I feel like that's material.
None. They're divorced, or they're getting divorced.
I'm aware. I'm aware.
Yeah. I feel like Smoking Jay Cutler, the meme of Smoking Jay Cutler with the cigarette and the Lombardi would be amazing. I'd sign up for that in a heartbeat. You could have a serial killer at quarterback, and I still might say, give me the Super Bowl. Like that's how much I love winning a Super Bowl with the Saints. Like there's almost no person that you could tell me they would be
Joel Rifkin.
Hitler. Maybe I might have a hard time if Hitler was.
Yeah, I would hope so. He'd be a
Jesus.
hard guy to root. He'd be a hard guy to root for.
He'd be a hard guy to root for, but I mean, you know,
It only gets worse from here. We better move on.
But Super Bowl. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I mean, look, I hate to go there, but Darren Sharper was on that Super Bowl team, and we still celebrate that Lombardi. Just saying.
Carl Granderson is his criminal record is not pretty.
Don't you
The
talk
big
about my
creeper.
adopted son that way.
It is. I'm talking about your dog.
He's a changed man.
correct
Under my tutelage.
Oh dang Bo. That's what the
There you
chat
go.
said.
That's all the questions I got, man.
So that's all the questions. So we wrap it up.
Well, you got to actually you.
everybody in the chat, by the
Ralph,
way-
the title of this freaking show is Coldest Blooded Saints
and we
Players
did it,
Ever.
and we went off the rails. And Thomas, I apologize. Tase me tomorrow in the meeting. That was going to be the main topic. We were going to pick the coldest blooded Saints.
Well, we could go around the horn and pick one real quick, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, I'm going with Drew Brees then.
I'm going. My coldest. I'm going.
This is
I'm
it.
going
That's it.
Deuce
Drew?
McAllister.
Can we get like
Why Brees?
an explanation on this?
So I would say that with Drew specifically, other than the wins and the amount of success that he's had, the thing for me about Drew is that when he was in the 2-minute offense, especially, it just always felt like he was so stoic and his blood pressure went down. And it's just his body language. I mean, when he scored a touchdown, he maybe give a fist pump and all that. But like when he was locked in the zone, it just felt like the more tense the game got, the louder the fans, the higher the stakes or whatever, the game's on the line. Like he's just moving his shoulder, he's laser focus, and you don't see any excitement. You don't see any. He's cold blooded, man. He's it's like his blood pressure as the intensity rises, his blood pressure goes lower.
I picked Deuce McAllister just because his 3 seasons where he ran for 1,600 yards, it always felt like he had another gear that he didn't use just because he didn't have to. And his 2006 player, and there's a shot of him without the helmet, and his 2006
There he
playoff
goes.
game where he just carried Eagles into the end zone. Like, look at him just trucking Tampa Bay. Like, Tampa Bay, the year they won the Super Bowl, the Saints beat them twice, and they beat them
I
twice.
like that jersey.
mostly
Look at that
because
jersey.
They just pounded Deuce up the middle against their cover 2, and they had no answer for it. Like, young Deuce was just remarkable, and he was my most cold-blooded guy by far. Dave, who do you got?
I think
Ooh, those old jerseys are horrible. It made me want to throw up.
I'm gonna
Oh,
go.
I love that
Colt
jersey. Are you
went
kidding me?
through and got it. Ugh.
Those gold
I didn't-
jerseys are
Tommy-
sweet.
Tommy seizures, PTSD.
I didn't realize I should have given my answer ahead of time. Then Tomas could have queued up some video footage of my guy. I'm gonna go more so off the field than on the field. I'm gonna go with Marcus Colston. Only, I guess I mean more of like a cold fish than anything else, just because he was just so in the zone. He wasn't very, he didn't interact with the media too much. Not that he was, not that he went out of his way to not talk to them, but he just wasn't an outspoken guy, and he certainly wasn't outspoken on the field or off the field. And to be honest with you, I think that's the reason why he never got picked to a Pro Bowl. He just never made himself.
He never He never
Not a
said
diva.
one.
He never
interesting-
said feed me. He never said yeah. I mean, he never said look at me. He never said feed me. He never said pay me.
He never said closed mouths don't get fed.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Um, and
He never said what was it that Michael Thomas said this year? What was his wasn't there a tweet or something that he said that
There was
was
so many Michael Thomas tweets this year, Andrew. So many.
yeah.
I also said Ricky Jackson because look, I know he's a Saints Hall of Famer, he's a Pro Football Hall of Famer, but the thing about Ricky Jackson was when all those years where the Saints were good and they didn't win a playoff game, but in the Falcons playoff game and the Eagles playoff game, two different times when it was completely fucking falling apart, Ricky Jackson had a sack, forced fumble both times to basically try to single-handedly save the Saints and win them a playoff game, and it still wasn't good enough. But Ricky Jackson was just cold-blooded. And the thing that made Ricky Jackson more cold-blooded to me, Andrew, was he had that face mask after he got in the car accident and almost killed himself, where he looked kind of like
Darth
a
Vader.
Star Wars villain,
Yeah.
where it's
Yeah.
like all covered, and he just like get that one there with like the extra bars and the visor, like he just looked like a goddamn villain, and he was cold-blooded as
Another guy I would say from that era was Morton Anderson. I just felt like anytime there was a critical kick, a kick that he had to make, and he just never missed a kick that mattered. I felt like if he had to hit the 60-yarder before halftime, or I know he had some misses in his career, but I just felt like every big moment he came through. And they called him
Yeah.
Mr. Automatic. So
I should have told Thomas to cue up the kick that he made against San Francisco in '87, where he made a kick with like 30 seconds left to beat San Francisco, and the little flags on the goalpost, one of them was going right and one of them was going left, and he still kicked it in from like 45 yards where he like knuckleballed it in. And Jim Mora after the game is literally running off the field smiling, hugging Morton Anderson, probably saying to him, I can't believe you made that kick in this wind. So that was that's a great choice as well. So we I gotta say the new
Top
podcast
notch.
graphic
Fucking
is
give him
amazing.
give him the chef's kiss, Ralph. Fucking give it to him, dude.
I love it.
Chef's
It's
kiss.
amazing. It's amazing, Thomas. I mean,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
was
know what to
awesome.
say. I mean, it feels we feel professional, and that feels
you're
really
too good for us, man.
he is too he is too good for us. But I want to thank everybody in the chat and go and buy some sneakers on eBay and get in the raffle to get some Air Force Ones and become a patron. God damn it, we're the best Saints podcast on earth. $10 a month, you get the booze bundle, you get access to the Discord, you get this podcast, you get it commercial free. It's amazing. Look at all that fun stuff you get. You get it. I mean, and if you sign up annually, you get a month for free. All right. So, and listen, Andrew will tell you, and we don't make hardly any money off this podcast. The thing that we do when we get the money from the patron, we hire people like Thomas to make the show better. We give you guys cups and merch. Like, we're just doing this for fun, and we want it. The more support we have, the more cool stuff we can do, like hire Thomas to make the live stream look professional. So become a patron, support the show. It's amazing. So that'll wrap it up. The only thing I wish Kevin was here, because I think Kevin cackling during this show would have brought it to a different level. But maybe next week Kevin will find it in his heart to.
Well, Kevin did participate. He sent me the link to that tweet by Field Yates. That was clutch.
Yeah. So
About Pete Carmichael, who will never be a head coach in the NFL.
Right. Right.
Thanks Thomas for running everything behind the scenes. It was flawless, amazing. So everybody, for Dave, for Andrew, for Kevin, I'm Ralph. Until next week, the bar is closed.